You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm back. I got finished talking to Doug Linke a minute ago about the best grease to use for chassis. Moly lithium grease is what I recommend putting up for chassis lube in a grease gun. But I got Rob Lapham calling all the way from Port St. Joe. Rob, this is qualifying week. This is where we got to send the money to the state of Florida, all $10,000 or so, almost $11,000. How close are we getting to making that a reality?
Oh, about 2 hours. As soon as I get off this call, I'm driving up to Tallahassee with my $10,440 and giving it to the bureaucrats. And I have my oath signed and notarized. And as far as I know, all I have to do is turn that in, and they stamp receipt on it, and then they change my status on the state candidate website tracking system from active to qualified. So I don't think it's a big deal. But if I run into some unusual things, I'll know about all of it this morning.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because the first thing my wife said, she said, "Well, who's qualified for run for office right now?" in the newspaper, and it showed Mary Thomas, it showed Neil Dunn, it showed one other person, but didn't have your name down there. I said, "Trust me, Anna Marie, he will be taking care of that very, very soon." But I was also telling our audience in the first part of the show that if you're a libertarian, run for office, most of that money that you give to the state takes about they take 2% of it or whatever. They take
15%.
15%.
So the balance, the 85%, $8,400, whatever it is, actually goes back to the Libertarian Party of Florida, not to me.
No,
and then I'm relying on you, Mr. State Treasurer,
to send it
with
back.
Appropriate authority to get it back to me. Otherwise, my wife is going to be very upset that our retirement account has been substantially decreased.
Well, that's one of the things I'm trying to encourage people right now. You know, if you're a libertarian, now Florida has a 365 rule. If you've run as any other candidate in the last 365 days, you can't jump ship and join another party. You have to either be no party affiliate, or you have to be a member of a Republican or Democrat or Libertarian Party for 365 days before you run. Am I saying that correctly, Rob? Is that
you are saying it correctly as far as what state law is concerned. However, just as a point of information, that is unconstitutional, and it's been held by the Supreme Court, by the U.S. Supreme Court. But a state cannot throw out regulations that are more restrictive as far as running for office than the feds have. And that has not been challenged right now. And frankly, you wouldn't get around a 365-day rule just by the oath that I signed. I affirm, I swear, that I have not been a member of another party for 365 days.
But that's what we were talking about earlier about in 2017, the Constitutional Revision Committee comes back in every 20 years to change the Constitution. And that, as you said, there's a law right there that needs to be changed because it's unconstitutional to allow people to ballot access. And that's part of the Libertarian Party, the LPF, is ballot access. That's part of our job, is to allow ballot access. And every time we get a chance to change it, like in 1997, Tom Rainier, you were down there at the state party, how they petitioned the state along with the Green Party, the Socialist Party, the Surfer Party, whatever, all these minor parties where they just had to pay the money instead of having to have 250,000 signatures to get on the ballot. So there's an area right there. Now, we've covered that right there. You're running for office. You're running District 2, which is a very conservative area that goes all the way from Bay County all the way down to almost to Ocala. What seems to be the most important thing on people's minds when you go talk to them?
You know, James, I don't get there's not a uniform response. I do think unemployment is a big issue. As I mentioned before, unemployment in Congressional District 2 is about 11.2%, which is more than twice the average reported by the Fed. So a lot of people are out of work. But and I have put up on my website a dozen different things that I will do if elected, and every one of them has been spoken. People I've spoken with have mentioned one of these, at least one of these 12, at least once. I don't know for sure they're the most important, but so I've got a whole list. And when you say, well, what is it you're going to do when you go to Washington? And all of them, I have a uniform answer. If elected, I will sponsor and I will work tirelessly to pass legislation. And then I got these things: to downsize the U.S. military, to shut down the NSA and the TSA, to end drug prohibition, which of course means shutting down the Drug Enforcement Administration, end the federal income tax, localize education, replace government pensions with Social Security, opt out of Social Security, end crony capitalism, expand health freedom, which means shutting down Obamacare. That is, all you have to do is remove the federal mandate on individuals and businesses.
Right.
So anyway, those are 10 of a dozen things I'm going to do, but I'm not getting, one particular thing. I guess the most frequent thing that folks say is they're just flat disgusted with what we have in Washington.
That's the truth. I have seen that. I've actually seen lifelong Republicans that would never vote for any Democrat whatsoever, or anybody else that only, or even Democrats only vote party line only. They're just beside themselves. They're going, I can't bring myself to vote for Hillary. I can't bring myself to vote for Trump. And I said, well, why don't you vote third party? Oh, I can't do that. I said, why can't you? Oh, well, Hillary may win or Trump may win. I'm going, okay, come on now. It's not going to work that way. You have an option. You don't be stuck in this rut that you can't see out of. We have a third option. We have the Libertarian Party, which is on the ballot in all 50 states. We're a legitimate party. We've been around since 1971. And we got candidates such as yourself, Rob. You've got a lot of experience. You know how you're an IT guy, right? Is that your background, internet?
That's true. It's a computer bust. Actually, I'm a little out of date on that.
Well, but still,
I used to handle that.
But you're up to date on what's going on. I honestly believe the next war we have is going to be a cyber war. It's not going to be guns and bullets. It's going to be with ones and zeros is what it's going to be with. But a binary. But the point I'm trying to say is we need people that can think out of the box. Right now, we got platitudes being given by Mary Thomas, Neil Dunn, Ken Secure, make our military bigger. Well, we're the biggest dadgum military in the world. We spend a lot on the military-industrial complex. It seems to be, I think that's the main thing we're trying to do is keep our economy going by promoting the military-industrial complex, but it's not sustainable. Do you see that as being a truism, that if we're going to have a severe crash if we keep doing the way what we're doing?
No question in my mind, and I agree with you also that it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Said before, we spend $600 billion on our military, 9 times more than Russia does. Yeah. How big do you need to be? There's got to be an upper limit. There is too much of what goes into the military budget is, frankly, Congress people arguing for continuation programs to keep jobs in their particular district.
That's my point.
Again, every dollar you take out of the U.S. economy through taxes or through this internal debt increase that keeps going on is less resources available for private business, and it's one of the reasons that we have such a terrible employment rate.
I have to agree. I was talking to my son-in-law. He says he's got a private public partnership where they're building 400 houses down there in the West Palm Beach area, and I'm going, are they low rent houses? And he said, well, yeah, they're low rent houses. He's a developer. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, housing and urban development, they're spending the money. And I said, are they picking the winners and losers? No, we came straight up, down, by lottery system. But the point being is the government is picking the winners and losers. They say, okay, we're going to give this money to this business over here, or we're going to give it to that business. And it's just kind of like whoever you know. And I'm going, every dollar they spend is money that comes out of your and my pocket. That is, it almost reminded me of Atlas Shrugs or Fountainhead. Excuse me. Yeah, it really does. Where they take the money and they build these public housing projects that are unsustainable, and at the same time they get they're boondoggles. I mean, what would cost $100,000 to build for a private sector is $190,000 for the public-private sector, and it just why are they doing this? And that's why I'd like to see someone like yourself get into office and say, can't we change this way that we're spending our money and make government smaller and bring it back to the local municipalities instead of the central, because right now it's centralized government. That's what it is. We have the 5-year plan, so to speak, not by Russia, but it's almost like the Americans have a 5-year plan. This is what we're going to do the next 5 years, comrades. Yep. And I'm going, this is crazy.
James, I want to encourage you, as a result of driving north on 71, the main route going north out of Port St. Joe, the first place you go through is Weewahitchka.
Yes.
And I saw last week for the first time Rob Lapham for Congress, Libertarian yard sign, and I don't know how it got. Well, I do know people I've given them to, but I didn't have anybody working Lewa Hitchcock.
Well, anyway. My wife gives them out.
The yard signs, so that's great. I wanted to mention that also on the air, that you have a supply of them, and believe me, if you get low, I will be right there with more yard signs. I'd like to see a few more yard signs out there.
Well,
so
I'm going to be
encourage anybody.
We're going to be heading that way anyway. I'm taking more bees up that way. My bees are living between Frink and Clarksville up on Highway 71. I've got about 15, 20 hives up that way where I can have Tupelo honey next year. That near the Chipola River. So that's what I'm trying to do. But yes, more yard signs to let people know that you're running for Congress out there, because it's robforcongress.org if you're listening and want to find more about his platform. And we will accept money. I am his treasurer, so you can bring it to James Auto Center, and I'll make sure he gets the money. I won't put it in my pocket. I don't need to do that. I want to make sure Rob has a great opportunity to become, I really think he is some of the most qualified person out there. People say, well, we got people, we've got a doctor out there and running all this. Well, if you start listening to what they have to say, they really sound very progressive.
The doctor who is running is quoting the establishment party line of the Republicans. There's a little bit of a difference I'm beginning to see between the doctor and the other two significant candidates on the Republican side. But he's strictly establishment top to bottom. As we said before, more military, of course, they all say that.
Right.
But his only answer to the spending, and it's up on his website, is a constitutional amendment to balance the budget.
That ain't gonna happen.
Hey, the Republicans put a congressman from Minnesota in 1936 introduced the first Republican bill to balance the budget. And it's been a long time since 1936. They're not going to do it. We'll all be dead by the time
That's 80
that
years.
bill passes the Congress and all the states. So it's just not going to happen. I'm not saying we shouldn't go for it, but there's no reason why we should not stop excess spending right now. And the doctor is not going to do that. No,
I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and I'm sure my Republican friends out there are going, how can you dare say that? We don't need a Democrat in there. We don't need a Republican, and we don't need a Democrat up in Congress. We need a Libertarian. We need someone that has smaller government, shrink the size of government, fiscal responsible, along with being socially acceptable. As far as, you live your life the way you live your life, so long as you don't hurt anybody, or, there's no problem with it. And I really think, Rob, like you do, that most people out there listening are libertarians in their heart. They really are. They want to live their life and not hurt anybody, and they don't even want anyone to hurt them. They just want to be left alone.
I'm in full agreement with that, James. Absolutely.
Rob, we got to go. I only got about 15 seconds left. What would you like to tell people before we get off?
Please go up on the website, Rob for Congress. That's spelled out in full if you're not watching on the screen. ROBFORCONGRESS.org. My positions are there. There's a donate page there. I'd be delighted for any contributions you can do to help the enormous expense of running for office. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And we will see you in your car probably by the time this election's halfway over, because I bet you're going to put 6,000 miles on in the next couple of months. Very, very
well, that's good. That's good for your business, because obviously I'm going to need some repairs to my car.
All right. Thank you, Rob, for calling. Hey, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning. It's Wednesday morning. We'll be back. Karen Schoen will be calling tomorrow. And I also have a representative from Napa Auto Parts calling, and maybe he'll talk about this injection valve cleaner. Who knows? Rob, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, beep.